You decide. Let me tell you a story before I end, brothers and sisters. I hope I can deliver it to you. I changed some of it. This is a good story. A good story that we can rely on. Story of the beggar. Beggar was homeless, young man, beggar. One day, this beggar was gathering food. He kept noticing every day that his food disappears. The one that he gathers. On another day, he caught the mouse that keeps stealing his food. So he asked the mouse, "Why are you stealing my food? I'm already homeless and beggar. Why are you still stealing from? Why don't you steal from the rich people? They don't have an effect on them because they have a lot. And why are you stealing from me?" The mouse told the homeless man, "It is in your destiny that you can only have 8 items in your possession." So that's his destiny. No matter how much you beg, no matter how much you gather, this is all you'll be able to have. The homeless man was shocked and said, "Why is that my destiny?" The mouse said, "I don't know. You should ask God." So the homeless man goes on a journey to find God and ask Him, "Why is it my destiny like this?" And so he's going. Late at night already, keeps on going and going until it's already late. He found, rest in the home of a wealthy man, a wealthy family. He knocks at the door of the wealthy family's house. He asked if he could stay for the night. He asked him. The man said, "Young man, why are you traveling so late?" And so he answered, "I have a question to ask God, and tomorrow I'll be on my way." The family then said, Can you ask God a question? We have a question for Him too. Our question is, we have a 16-year-old daughter who can't speak. We just want to ask, what do we need to do to make her speak? So the homeless man thanked them for the shelter of the night, and the following day went on his way, telling the family that, "I'm going to ask God your question when I find Him." So the next morning, he goes and continues his journey and sees a sea of mountains that he has to cross. He climbs one mountain and he meets a wizard. And the wizard decides to use his staff to take the young man and himself, flying them across the sea of mountains. And the wizard asked the young man, "Where are you going, young man? Why did you decide to cross these mountains?" The young man said, "I am going to ask God a question about my destiny." The wizard then said, "Can I please give you a question too? To ask God?" "I've been trying to go to heaven," said the wizard, "for 1,000 years. According to my belief or teachings, I should be able to go to heaven now. Can you please ask God, what do I have to do to get to heaven?" "Of course," said the young man, "I will ask God your question for you." And as he continues on his journey, he runs into his last obstacle, which is a vast river that he cannot cross. Luckily, he meets a giant turtle, a giant turtle, who decide to take him across the vast river. As they were crossing the river, the turtle asked, "Where are you going, young man?" "I am going to see God, and I'm going to ask Him a question about my destiny." The turtle then says, "Can you please ask God a question for me too?" "I've been trying to become a dragon for 500 years. According to my belief and teaching, I should become a dragon by now. Can you please ask God, what do I have to do to become a dragon?" The young man thanked the turtle for giving him a ride. Of course, turtle, I asked God your question for you. The homeless man finally meets God. And there were other sojourners too who asked questions from God. God tells everybody, I will answer 3 questions from each one of you. How many questions that the young man has? What was the first question?
His
What is my
destiny.
destiny? What is the second question that he promised the family man?
Daughter speak. Oh,
What he needs to do for my daughter to speak. What about the question of the wizard?
Go to heaven. Go to heaven.
How to go to heaven? Question of the turtle.
The dragon.
And the dragon. 4 questions. He's only allowed to ask 3 questions. We have a problem. That's a story, brothers and sisters. Just kidding. I still have 3 pages. Good story, huh?
Yes.
This is good when you listen to this. God tells everybody, I will answer 3 questions from each one of you. So the homeless young man was shocked. He has 4 questions to ask. So he thinks very carefully. He thinks about the turtle, living for 500 years trying to become a dragon. Wizard has been living for 100 years trying to get to heaven. Young girl has to live her whole life unable to speak. And then he thinks of himself and he says, I am just a homeless beggar. I can go back home and continue begging. So as he looks at everybody else's problems, his problems suddenly seem so small. Just to eat, just to get by. So he feels sorry for the turtle, the wizard, and the girl, and decides to ask all their questions. So he asks God questions, and God answers. Exciting, huh? The turtle, God said, the turtle is unwilling to leave his shell. As long as he's unwilling to leave the comfort of his shell, he will never become a dragon. Come out from your shell. The wizard always carries his staff and never puts it down. It acts as an anchor, keeping him from heaven, going to heaven. And as for the girl, she'll be able to speak when she meets her soulmate. So the homeless man bowed to God and went on his journey back home. He reunites with the turtle and he tells the turtle, hey, you just have to take off your shell and you become a dragon. The turtle then takes off his shell, and inside his shell were priceless pearls found in the deepest parts of the ocean. And he gives it to the homeless man and tells him, thank you, my friend. I no longer need this treasure because I am now a dragon. And he flies away. The homeless man reunites with the wizard on top of the mountains and says, hey, you just have to put down your staff and you'll be able to get to heaven. The wizard let go of his staff by giving it to the young man. He says, thank you, and ascends to heaven. The young man now has wealth from the turtle and power from the wizard's staff. He goes back to the family that gave him shelter. And he tells him, God said, your daughter will be able to speak when she meets her soulmate. And at that moment, the doctor came down from the stairs and said, hey, Dad, is this the young man that was here last week? The young girl and the once homeless beggar have their soulmate.
Happy ending.
Yeah. Your reflection is this. This is also many things. So many lessons in life, brothers and sisters. Sometimes we have to give things in order to get some things. Isn't it?
Yes.
Amen.
Sometimes if we want to become a dragon, we want to become a lion or whatever, we have to be willing to live behind what makes us more comfortable in life. Just like the turtle did. And in order to find true love, we must become somebody who's willing to put others before ourselves. He was tested with those 4 questions, remember? We forget about the 7. But just those, think about those people that give him all those things. But little do we know, we have a divine creator that will look into us. This is our life, brothers and sisters in community. Our life in giving. And life in just give it to the brothers. Our life with our uncle, we walk for the poor. Right? Just give it to others so that they may live. Us, we live with our surplus. When you're alone and when you're lost in your thoughts, sometimes your problem seems so big. It may seem like it's the end of the world. But if we look for other people's lives, other people who don't have as much opportunity as who have the worst. Sometimes it makes our problem seem so much smaller. If we're willing to lend a hand to those who are struggling more than us, it may change the course of our life, our destiny. Isn't that beautiful?
Amen.
That's your life. That's our life. I just presented it to you in a nice way. What we are practicing this, brothers and sisters. And I hope you savor it. I hope you, thank you. Thank you, God, for guiding us that your will is this, that we can comprehend. We're just putting ourselves into it. So attend your household, support the community, support our church. This is what we need to do in order for us to be conformed to our mind, to God. And we can know His will for us. Reflection, brothers and sisters, is this, aside from the one, the turtle and the dragon and the wisdom. What are the big decisions you've made about your life recently? How did you know it was God's will? How did prayer affect your decision? How do you know when you need help discerning God's will? Or who do you go to? How does that person point you back to God's word and prayer? What are the big decisions you made about your life recently? Oh, this is the one. This is one of the questions. So before we go on reflecting, before we have